So what I think you're saying is that the South African public and the 70% of 16 to 35-year-olds who agree with the notion of some sort of benevolent dictatorship is too uneducated to know what it actually means.
Yes, 1,000%. And I think that often people, specifically you look at the rise of political parties like the Patriotic Alliance, the National Coloured Congress, and the way they almost operate their political parties within local government structures and in communities. And you often talk to people about the dangers of, because I mean, Gaten McKenzie's openly said he's a dictator.
No, the Patriotic Alliance is a dictatorship because they have no mechanism for electing a leader. The MK party is a dictatorship because there's nothing in their constitution. Firstly, the constitution says that the leader of the party chooses whoever holds any office. There's no part of the MK constitution that says how you elect a leader. So we already have two political parties who are dictatorships.
And I think dictatorship can be idealized a lot. I think a lot of people bring up examples. They're like, look at how well the UAE is doing. Look at countries like Saudi Arabia. Look at what is now going on in Burkina Faso. Yes and no. I think even in a democracy at large, and I make this critique when people are like voting changes nothing, but you could never operate on the notion that politicians will always do the right thing. By giving someone unequivocal power with having no mechanisms of repercussions, it's extremely dangerous, and democracy is extremely flawed. Extremely flawed, but it's the best system that we have. And I think my argument, and I come up against this a lot when people are like, oh, voting changes nothing, is that okay, but not voting also doesn't change anything. So you could sit back and you could have a dictator come in and, you know, completely change the lives of South Africans for the better. But what happens if that individual abuses their power? Because now we have mechanisms to have a motion of no confidence against the president, to remove a minister in a commission of inquiry. There are democratic mechanisms that we can hold the government accountable. Do we as the public always exercise them? No. But in a democracy, and I think that's the beauty of democracy, is that it's flawed, but it's the best system that we have. And I don't think that South African public and the electorate is really educated on why democracy is important. And I also think it's really disparaging to the millions of South Africans who fought for a democratic South Africa. I mean, people risk their lives for us to be able to have a say in a free and fair country and for us to stand at the ballot box.